Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Me and Ben here today again, and we're going to talk transfers. We're going to talk about how the landscape of the transfer window is going to change because of obviously the pandemic that's going on at the moment and the financial crash. Worldwide, pretty much it's going to happen. And we're going to see massive. There's not going to be big transfer fees like the Neymar. That's not going to be the case. This is on the back of some news from the Liverpool Echo this week to say that loans and swap deals could likely become a key part of the next transfer window for Everton. Everton would prefer signing a top target on loan rather than buying a player who is further down their wish list. And big money transfer deals are to be highly unlikely at this stage for Everton as plans for Ancelotti's first summer in charge have been altered. Now, a lot of Everton Twitter kind of took this badly and thought, is it just Everton who that applies to? But I kind of read it and thought, well, yeah, that's going to be everyone more generally. But because I don't see how it affects. It's going to affect some clubs worse than others, obviously, but it's not going to be. There's not going to be a few clubs who are just chucking around mad transfer fees, and then others who can't do anything. Like the whole worldwide, it's going to be different all over the board. What was your initial reaction to this, Ben? What did you think? Did you think it would just apply for Everton, or did you think of it more?
Basically, as soon as I saw the article, to be honest with you, mate, it deflated me a bit, to be honest, because this is, I alluded in the last show we did to big moments and big summers of opportunity for Everton that we haven't taken. This falls under that category with a world-class manager in charge. The basis of a decent, I wouldn't go further than these, but the basis of a decent squad that we've got that needs probably 2 or 3 additions. That's probably it. And now that's going to be scuppered by, forces beyond everyone's control. But do I think it's going to stop the top clubs getting the targets they need? Probably not. And I mean that genuinely. I think it depends on Manchester City, because Manchester City, despite all the money, I don't actually think they did it a lot last summer when they probably needed that extra couple of players for me. Liverpool, do you think that'll stop Liverpool signing Timo Werner, which is the biggest unkept secret in the world in world football right now? That, of course, it won't. They'll still sign him because they know that they'll get the money back in future revenue. They've got the money to spend, basically. And in my opinion, so should Everton. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be too harsh on it. I'm not trying to be too not trying to have a go at Moshiri at all. But his wealth has not taken a hit during this, to our understanding. He's actually moved up the ladders of the richest of the rich in the UK. If this is such a big opportunity, because if other clubs can't spend because of certain projection and revenue avenues that have closed down for them for now, now's the time for Everton to go for it. Go for the kill. All the other teams are metaphorically on the ropes because they're hampered by not being able to spend because they've got the money tied up in different things. Moshiri is a cash-rich owner. And just think, if we just, 100 million spent this summer, probably the equivalent to 300 in a normal window because the prices could drop. So for me, if we're going to miss out on players like Gabriel that's been alluded to, I mean, that's just devastating for me. Because, I mean, listen, I understand that the landscape changed, I get that. But do we think in a million years the Premier League football is going to collapse? Because of course it isn't. Premier League football is so vast and affluent that it'll never go away. It'll only get bigger. So do we not, as a club, think if we need, and that is an essential part of this team's central defence, do we sit there and risk losing the player for 30 million euros, whatever's being quoted, when other clubs can clearly do it? Other clubs can clearly spend that money. So I want to know, why can't we? I appreciate, again, I'm not an accountant. I don't know how this is going to affect the global financial crisis to that much extent. But all I know is that Moshiri's a billionaire, and that's not going to be affected by this crisis. He's certainly not going to lose. He's not going to, start having to look at selling the west wing of his house or anything like that. So why can't we go for it and take advantage of, because there will be clubs like, I think Burnley have come out and said that they're going to struggle in the current climate. Your clubs like Bournemouth, who aren't cash-rich clubs with big owners. But do you think for a million years it stopped Newcastle spending money? From what the reports we've read, they won't. Liverpool will still go out and buy Werner, in my opinion, who's their top target, and fair play to them. Manchester United will not stagnate. They will spend money. So we are, unfortunately, going to get left behind again, whereas like we did 10, 15 years ago under Moyes, but I don't get why we should, because we've got as richer, all right, maybe not Newcastle, but we've got as rich an owner as we could, as benefactors we could kind of get. So for me, this is a big opportunity, and reading that article, to be honest with me, it just sounded, unfortunately, again, cynical hat on for me, it sounded to me like an excuse. And I don't want to see Everton, we've gone out and got this world-class manager. I want to see Everton kick on. I'm sick and tired of watching Everton struggle. We were told when Mashiri took over, those days were gone. But they're back here if we can't spend any money this summer, because we should be able to go out there and compete with the best. Maybe not spend as much as we wanted to, but at the end of the day, as long as we're FFP compliant, we should be putting everything we can into that squad and giving ourselves at least half a chance of success.
Yeah, obviously from a selfish point of view, it is a bit of a disaster. We've just got one of the world's best managers, and we were expecting this to be Everton's time. Like, obviously we've had that owner, Mashiri, for a long time. It's never really happened, but now we've managed to bring in one of the world's best managers. This is the time, meant to be the time. We were really gonna make something of ourselves. We had to under Ancelotti.
In the tide.
Yeah, and it's exactly, it's kind of like, from a selfish point of view, it's kind of just scuppered our plans in that respect.
Yeah. Well, we can be selfish because, okay, we look at the rest of the world and everyone's jobs and that, obviously we want all that to be safe, but in terms of just purely Premier League football, I don't care if Liverpool, City, United, Bournemouth, Burnley struggle. I don't care, because I want Everton to be the best team, ultimately. Obviously, it's unrealistic, but I want Everton to be up there with the best teams. So if Everton can go out and be honourable and spend 100 million while everyone else can't afford it, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to stop the bigger clubs doing. You think PSG aren't going to spend any money this summer? No chance.
It sounds like it's going to be a case of like vultures, like kind of like clubs who are on their
arse. I'd rather us be the vultures this time than getting attacked by them, which has been the case so many times.
Yeah, that's true. It is, because some clubs are threatened. The future is threatened
and that's terrible. And that is a really horrible and unfortunate place. But does that stop? When Sheikh Mansour went into Manchester City, did he go in and go, oh, it's not fair for me to spend £200 million on new players because Aldershot Town are going bust? Of course not. It's a business. It's dog eat dog, and we shouldn't be concerned about the rest of the team. We should spend what we can to make our club better. And for me, especially, I know there's other names you might want to mention, but for me, the Gabriel signing, for me, that's a key one for me. So I'm really behind that signing, and I don't think we need massive overhauls of the squad. We just need 2 or 3 players, and it frustrates me that, for example, the rumours are saying that we can't buy them because of the climate, but Napoli can. How does that work? How can Napoli do it, but we can't? That to me sounds like Everton making an excuse again. There's not to spend more. I don't know. That's the cynical Evertonian in me, but I'm just sick of Everton, like you say there, not being the vultures, being the prey. We should be out there trying to turn this unfortunate situation into our advantage as possibly can, because other teams will.
Yeah.
So why can't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gabriel was one that sounded pretty close as well. That sounded like...
I think it would have happened if it weren't for all this, but why would... I don't get why it'd stop it. I just don't understand how a club can have 30 million and then not have it a couple of months later. We know, as me and you know, match day revenue, it's futile. It's not worth hardly anything. It doesn't make anywhere near those kind of differences in the money. So how on earth that's affected it, I have no idea. Maybe we were selling another player to make up for it, and now they can't buy it, which I get. Offloading players for me, that's going to be difficult. But you've got players like Schneiderlin that they're on last year of the contract. Send them on loan for a season. Someone cover the wages. They're off. They're gone. Sandro, similarly. Mo Besic, similarly. But we need to take advantage of this as best we can, as in a footballing sense.
Yeah, we do. We don't know what's Mashiri's circumstances in terms of what he's got invested, what he's kind of using, because we know he's possibly using some of Usmanov's money as well. So we don't know his circumstances, but it is obviously, when you see a billionaire owner not being able to use his money, you kind of think, why not? And I don't know how open the club will be about it. If we are just going to dip
not very, I wouldn't have thought.
I doubt it. I doubt they'll kind of uncover things like that. But if we are anyway to have to dip into the loan market and that kind of thing, which players do you have in mind that Everton should kind of go for if it is going to be loans, and if it is going to be what was it said? It was big money transfer deals unlikely. Prefer signing a top target on loan than buying a player who's further down their wish list. Which kind of targets are you thinking of in terms of that bracket?
In terms of which bracket, sorry, with
to bring in on loan if we have to.
It depends, because I hate loan signings now. Like I feel like we've done all that and we saturated that market under Martinez. Now we've got money. Loaning players just isn't a sensible way to go about it for me. I could see, honestly, if you're asking me now, what do I think would happen? Sorry to change the question there. I'll get on to your answer now. What do I think will happen? The cynic in me, what I think is going to happen? I think John Joe Kenny will just go back on loan to Schalke, which will be the most pointless thing in the world. Like, he either comes back for me or you sell him. There is no point in him going to... He's probably on about 20,000 a week, if that. There's no point in him not coming back to Everton. If he's not good enough, sell him. But I could see a silly scenario where we get Sidibe on loan for another season, even though we know he's not good enough. But we'll argue that it's like, just tiding us over. But that's the issue I have. We don't need a season of tiding over because we've got nothing to tide over. I don't know your opinions, obviously, Sam, but I don't think he's good enough. Sidibe, he's not been terrible, but he's not good enough. So if we don't think he's good enough now, what's a year going to make? So we're basically just accepting that we're not going to improve, that we're just going to, you know what I mean? And that's not something I feel particularly comfortable with. We've been the other central defender we've been linked with as well as Gabriel is Todibo from Barcelona. He's on loan Schalke this season. I've got to be honest, I'm on the fence with him. The jury's out. I think he's a bit young. The thing I liked about Gabriel is I think he's slightly older, a couple of years older, hitting sort of 22. He's got a lot more, European experience for me in terms of his football. He looked like the profile of a player I'd like to see, like a left-footed defender who looks like he's physically good enough. Todibo for me looks a bit too much like we've already got, like a Holgate. The fact that apparently he can play a number of positions like central midfield, etc., that doesn't really sit well with me because I want my central defenders to be central defenders. I want him to have that football and brain to defend. I think that's been a big issue for us this season. So he's not what I'd look for in a centre half. I prefer someone a bit more physical, and rather than you got Holgate who can play out from the back. I don't think I want another Mason Holgate. Well, we've already got Mason Holgate. I want someone who's left-footed, a bit more physical. So for me, but back to your question there, onto like the likes of Todibo, I don't understand in what world getting him on loan. For example, if we got him on loan, I could see that getting him on loan, it would help in any way, because you then only got to pay more from next summer if he does well than what you would now, or he goes to somebody bigger, or he falls flat on his face, and we've wasted an entire summer's budget on that budget on the centre half to be back completely square one. Ancelotti's contract's another year on. The good players we've got are another year on without a trophy of European football. It just, for me, it's all about the present, and buying a 20-year-old on loan at centre-back is not an option for me. The players that I would like to see come on loan, like you've asked me there, the likes of... The only players I'd see is actually good loan signings, because I'm not a fan of it, are the likes of... We've been linked with James Rodriguez, we've been linked with Coutinho, and I think Mario Götze is slightly different because he was on a free transfer. But those kind of players, those three right there, are players who I wouldn't feel comfortable with Everton spending huge money on. 40, 50, 60, 70 million on. I wouldn't. Because of various things, because of their age. I think they're all hitting 28, 29. I think Rodriguez is already 29. And they've been hit and miss on other clubs. For example, those three players would be the perfect loan signs for us because they're players that are better than what we've got. They would improve us, but I would probably feel quite comfortable with not keeping them longer than a year, given their age and their wage demands. James Rodriguez could come in for a year and do a really good job. You might want to sign him permanently, and then you cross that bridge when you come to it. But he's not gonna. I don't think he's someone who could. If he come on loan and was successful, we'd miss out on, because I think he's had his big moves, and I think that's not worked out for him. Something like that on loan would be the only kind of deals I'd be comfortable with, because as well, it's not exactly for me an essential position, and I mean that in the sense that Ancelotti doesn't play with a number 10. We've got one number 10 of that profile and age that isn't working at the moment in Sigurdsson. So, but it's the other positions for me. It's the central defence, right back, and right wing for me. Not central midfield. Those three are the key areas for me, and I want us to sign a permanent player for a permanent addition in all three of those positions before I can even consider it being half a successful transfer window for me. So loan signings for me would only work if you buy a player who's 29 and above, because in truth, that will be a much better option than giving them a long-term contract as we have. For example, if we got Sigurdsson on loan for a year from Swansea, probably would have been all right with that. Probably would have been a good signing. Because we've now been lumbered with him for 5 years and he's in his 30s, it becomes different arguments. That's why.
Yeah. You can probably see like senior players coming in on loan then rather than young
Absolutely, yeah.
players.
There's no point taking young players on because you'll never get the best of them in an Everton shirt. You know, I'd take, like, for example, John Stones on loan because we probably couldn't afford to buy him otherwise, that kind of thing. But I wouldn't take a 19, 20-year-old on loan because I think we're past that generation where we have to take the likes of Delafeus who are raw and talented on loan. I don't want to be taken. If we're going to sign Tadibo on a permanent deal, then I'll trust Marcel Brands behind 100%. But for me, the Gabriel one looked a no-brainer for me. 30 million euros, that's not a lot in the current market for a Brazilian 22-year-old centre-back, or 21 he might even be. So I don't see how any of these plans should scupper that move in particular. I'd be comfortable even. I feel that strongly about the Gabriel signing. If we got him permanently and then we brought Kenny back as the right back, at least then give him a go. That for me is more progressive than getting Sidibe on loan again, because I don't think Sidibe works. So we may as well try John Joe Kenny. I'd rather try and fail than fail. So I would be comfortable getting Gabriel in, putting Kenny at right back, and then even worst case scenario, we had to get a right winger on loan. Then that to me, from what we read from the Echo, that would probably be the absolute most we'd spend. So that to me is the only way you're going to look at it positive. So for me, I don't want to get anyone on loan who's then just going to go for a higher price next summer to somebody else because they've done well at Everton.
Yeah, because then we're only spending out on one player as well. That'd be Gabriel, and obviously we bring back Kenny.
I'd give Kenny a run in the current. I'd have no problems in the current climate for Everton arguing that we need to give John Joe Kenny a chance because he's not been that bad. Give him a chance, and if it doesn't work, you sell him. That's fine. But in no scenario in my head should Sidibe be coming back on loan and Kenny go back out on loan, because what is the point in that? Because Sidibe isn't quite good enough for what we need, so we're basically admitting defeat before we even kick the ball. Whereas at least Kenny, okay, might not even be as good as Sidibe, but he might be better. Whereas we know Sidibe isn't.
Yeah,
that's my way of looking at it.
Some news has come out this morning on Sidibe as well from L'Equipe in France, which tends to be a decent, unless they're just filling column space, then that's tends to be a decent outlet. Is that they're looking to lower the price, even though there was one agreed already, it's about 12 million. They're looking to lower the price to maybe about 10 million to try and get him out, try and sell him. Do you think if he did lower the fee, would it be worth getting as a backup option?
Not while you've got Seamus Coleman there for me. Like, don't get me wrong, the three centre-backs that we've got on the books at the moment, Coleman, Kenny and Sidibe, probably in a perfect world for me, I probably would have Sidibe and Kenny as me too. But that's only because I think Seamus Coleman's a bit over the hill. I don't think he's quite got it anymore at this level. But Coleman's going nowhere, so what's the point in that? But at what point? It's like my arguments I've said there about I could see us getting him on loan. Again, I really can see us getting him on loan again next season. We know he's not good enough. So it doesn't matter whether he costs 100 million or 1 million. If he's not good enough, it's a terrible decision. Like, do we go out and buy a player who's not good enough just because they're cheap? Of course not. There's a reason why players come at a premium. And the fact of the matter is, if Sidibe had a really good season at Everton and we were really interested in him, there's no way they'd be reducing that price. Coronavirus or not, they know that they're going to struggle to get him off the books. And he's 28, I think, coming up to 28. So then you're looking at him in a year's time, be touching 30. So this is probably the last chance for them to get a feel like that for him. So for me, no, we've all decided, although he's not that bad a player, that he's not good enough. So if he's not good enough, we certainly shouldn't be looking at getting him back on loan or at a reduced price just for the sake of it. Because what is the point? I'd rather take somebody out the under-23s or under-18s and give them a run. I really would. Because if you know something's not working, why do it? You know what I mean? It's like getting Danny Drinkwater on loan. You know he's not good enough, but you do that instead of spending £20 million on someone who's good. Of course you don't.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose for them to be kind of pushing him out the door as well and lowering the price that they agreed with us, it sounds like they won't really want to get rid of him. I don't know if they need. I think they could do with the money, but for them to be wanting to get rid of him, we want players who aren't getting pushed out the door, but players who are kind of like coveted, ideally. But last thing I want to touch on as well is something you said before, something that I've thought about as well. A lot of people say we do need the centre mid reinforcements, and that's one of the key priorities. And obviously Gomez is already back as well. We've got Delph and Davis there as backups, but some people still say we need a centre mid.
Delph.
Sigurdsson's there, Schneiderlin's there as well. Delph again, yeah. But
Baby and Delph. My
but
mate.
there's the six players there playing central midfield, and there's still a lot of people saying we need a centre mid. So what's your opinion on that? Do you think we're all right at centre mid for now? Or do you think we need to increase the quality?
No, the quality is it's abysmal. To be quite honest with you, Andre Gomez is a decent player. The rest of them are not good enough to be in the top half Premier League team. That's where the full stop goes, mate. It's Gabaman. I'm excited to see because I actually think I was made up when we signed him. Seen a bit of him at Mainz last season. Really impressive. Really happy about that signing. Been injured so far, hasn't worked out. I really do hold high hopes for him coming back and really. Well, Christ, if he's not the second best defender by midfielder by a country mile, then he's going to be terrible. Because Davis isn't good enough. Delph, I'm not going to talk about Fabian Delph. You know what? Delph actually is probably the best of the rest of the players we've got ability-wise, but I can't stand his attitude. Sigurdsson's not good enough. Davis isn't good enough. Schneiderlin's not good enough. So, no, we do desperately need a central midfielder. However, if you look on the way I said the right-hand side of midfield, okay, we've got loads of central midfielders who aren't good enough, but we've got a bit of depth. We've got no depth on the right-hand side for me. Unless he tries something where he tries to evolve Alex Iwobi into a right-sided midfielder, which I wouldn't rule out. You know, because we've still got to find somewhere that he can play. I also, interestingly, I've alluded in the past, I've said to you, why can't we try and mould Alex Iwobi into a central midfielder? As a box-to-box central midfielder, because he played better centrally. He's got an engine about him. He's quite physically strong and he can pass a ball. So why can't we kind of, okay, maybe that would be more suitable in a three-man midfield than a two. But, you know, there's just an argument for you myself. Before I put your Delphs and your Davises anywhere near that team, I'd be trying something different. I'd be, oh, God, I'd try anything. Try Bernard in the middle. I'd try, you know, someone in the Beningame or Dennis Adeniran. You know what I mean? But that's a separate issue. The central midfield, if Gabaman comes in for the rest of the season and he excels and he does well, then it suddenly doesn't become as bad as the right-hand side midfield. Because right-hand side midfield, natural in that position, we've only got Theo Walcott. Now, one, he's not good enough anyway. Two, we've got no backup whatsoever. So that is a key area for me. Unfortunately, as much as the quality's not there in central midfield, I think we have to trust Gabaman a lot more than we should, really, because the other signings in Delph haven't worked out. So for me, if he's going to play 4-4-2, he needs a right winger and he needs a right back. Like we've said before, to have a kind of combination on the right hand side, left hand side, every position on the pitch. Left hand side, we probably, if you offered me Everton Suarez from Gremio, I'd be made up. But where do you go? The only position we do not need strengthening is probably left back, and that's assuming that Leighton Baines stays and striker. That's it. Everywhere else, goalkeeper, we need a backup goalkeeper. We need a centre half. We need a right back. If Baines goes, we need a left back. You know, we need a better left midfielder, but it's all about priorities at the moment. And for me, the central midfield, at least you've got names stocked there. They're not good enough, but we need to try and get 2 or 3 names in each position before we can worry about the quality in that sense. So for me, that's why I say it's so frustrating that we're not going to be spending this summer, because there's a nucleus of about 4 or 5 players who I think are good enough. The rest of them, the divide's ridiculous. Like 4 or 5 players who I think are top 8 players in the Premier League. The rest of them are bottom half Premier League. Really bottom half. You know what I mean? Like you see Delphi, Schneiderlins, you know, even Walcott, he's not great, is he? So we really, really need a right midfielder out of pure necessity, because we haven't got the bodies in there to play that position. So this is where, if we are going to struggle to spend money, they've got to be very, very creative. And I'd love to know what they're going to do, because we've, you know, with the Dwight McNeil fan club over here, you know, I think that one's certainly gone by the wayside now. Although Burnley, again, this is where my argument would be. Burnley we're probably going to be under pressure to sell. So why shouldn't we take advantage of this opportunity and get him on loan with an obligation to buy? Something like that. You know, on loan for a season, we'll pay his wages, but then we'll guarantee that you'll get 25 million next summer. Burnley can take that and help us to stabilise their own club. Everton get a decent play. It's win-win for me. You know, like your Ryan Fraser's, he's laughing, Ryan Fraser's, because he's a free transfer in a market where not many players are going to be going. He can literally pick any club he wants to go to in England. I'm convinced Liverpool or City are going to buy him. I really do, because they will just pick him up on a free transfer and sell him for an extortionate fee in 12 months' time because he's British and he's the right age. So it's just really frustrating if we can't spend the money we need. But like I've said there, I think I've opened a complete can of worms there because I've just realised, even myself, that every single position needs gutting, basically. It's like we've bought a house. We've bought a house, it's got a nice living room, but the rest of the house needs knocking down. That's just like...
Yeah, we've got a dodgy, unbalanced squad. And that's
we bought a house in an area that used to be so affluent because Everton was so great. And now we've got a decent living room. The kitchen's workable. The rest of the house needs gutting. That's the best analogy I can give you.
That's a good analogy, that.
It is. We're looking at a house. One of the rooms is great in Richarlison in terms of the strikers. So the living room's fantastic. Couldn't improve that. We'll be lucky to keep the living room as it is. The midfield, where Gomez, it's okay. You've got one or two bits you don't like, but overall it's okay. And then the rest of it is just needs knocking down.
Swimming pool in the conservatory, but it's full of shit, and you've got to clean it out. All the grime.
There's a swimming pool in the back that hasn't been used since 1987, when we last won the league, and that needs rebuild.
It's good. I like that analogy. I think that needs to be used more.
No, it is. It's like you've got to look at Everton's. That you know what? I'm giving myself that in a complimentary way. You've got to look. You look at Everton's squad the way you look at a house. That's it. You look at Everton's squad. Would you buy a house, or would you expect to sell a house and get a good price for it if only 2 of the rooms were nice? So how can Everton expect to win anything if they've only got 2 rooms that are nice and the rest of it is derelict? And there you go.
And basically, as well, in the market, that rebuilding process has just been like kind of thrown out the window.
It's like now, because of the crash, it's like we were going to spend loads of money doing it up, but now we've decided, no, we'll be all right. We'll live in it for a year, even though it's fallen down. You know, it doesn't matter. All right, it might be a bit more expensive and a bit more dodgy, but at the end of the day, you have to spend it, otherwise your house is going to fall down. That is literally the analogy I'm trying to get over there. You know, you can... We basically, what we're doing by not spending money and getting the likes of City back alone is what we're doing is we're saying, all right, the house has fallen down, but if we wait another year, it might not completely crash all over us, which it will. Because I guarantee you, if we don't invest this summer, this time next year, this next year is going to be pointless because we're just going to be langering around the lower mid-table, and then Ancelotti, someone's going to come in for him, you know what I mean, and go get him out of there. We'll give you a mansion. We'll give you a mansion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll be the victims of the vultures.
Sorry, just to go on that analogy one more time. It's like Ancelotti's being given this house, right? It's a bit run down, but it's in like the most amazing place in the world. It's a bit run down. Only needs a bit of tweaking to like get it back up to thing. And at the last minute, the builders have gone, no, we're not doing it. Imagine that though. You're going to build, right? He's getting a house and he hasn't got a roof on it. The moment they put the roof on it, they say, can't afford it now, mate. You have to live without a roof.
That's why everyone was so gutted on Everton Twitter the other night when that news came out from the Echo.
That was, mate, I was so deflated. I was like, this is just so Everton. Like, we're going to go into next summer having a squad that's 11th or 12th best in the league, and all the teams that are first, second, and third, they're laughing because they don't need to improve if nobody else is, do they?
Yeah, it is annoying. That's what annoys me about the Echo. Obviously, the Echo as well get blasted unnecessarily, in my opinion.
But they're only posting what the club give them.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of, it's kind of doshy the messenger because they're bringing news that just they've been told by the club. It's often it's bad news, but they're getting it's the Echo. It's horrible. Like it's just what they're getting told by the club.
The Echo is the most reliable newspaper source for Everton news. I'm convinced of that. That's why obviously I do a bit of work with them with the podcast and that. If it comes out today, it's true. Yeah. Whether it's good news or bad news, I'd rather it be true.
Yeah, they've got that relationship with the club. They'll only bring you what's being told by the club. And You can't
Might be
make
good
up anything
news, but
else.
you can believe it, can't you?
Yeah. You can't make up anything else about it because you've got that relationship with the club. You don't want to make up crap about it, which other newspapers do. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I don't believe anything in any other papers other than the Echo.
Of course. And yeah, we'll leave you with that, and we'll leave you with the quality analogy of the house as well. That's top concept from the Toffee Blues right
Everton's house is falling apart. It needs a new roof.
there. It is, and it's not going to come anytime soon by the looks of things.
We'll get a roof on loan from the house next door that isn't big enough to fit the roof.
Yeah, that sounds just about right for Everton. But yeah, that's good chat. Transfer news there. We've been going about half an hour there. That's a quality segment from. We didn't really know what we were going to do at the start, but that's quality stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, Ben, for joining me. As always,
Thanks for having me, mate. Cheers.
No worries. Yeah, let us know any players you think in the comments who we could bring in on loan or maybe even a permanent if they're going to be a cheap one. If we don't want to break the bank too much after what's happened. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, join us next time on the Toffee Blues, and obviously follow us both on social media as well. The tags are below our pictures, and thanks a lot for watching.